Hello, Gotham City, and welcome to Gotham City Tonight. We are here on a Friday night, a bit of a change of pace, because fun fact, when you have a child, when anyone in the household is sick, it is your problem, not just your own health anymore. So thank you, Ryan, for always stepping in and being flexible as I navigate being a creator and also a mother.
Yeah,
Crazy.
look, of course. I always have your back. Always. So do not worry.
Fabulous. And we are definitely going to then pretend I did not say that and go on to tell you all that we planned this week because James Gunn sent us a DM on Wednesday morning, and he said, "Hey guys, just thought you should know some stuff is going to come out this week. You should probably wait till Friday." And we said, "Thanks, real James Gunn. That's super helpful. We appreciate you." So here
Yep.
we
All
are.
of this is as true as every report you're reading on the Twitter right now. Oh,
Yep. And there is nothing that anyone can say to make it not true. And we have receipts, and Photoshop doesn't exist, so you know they're real.
correct.
Thanks, James Gunn. So happy Friday, everybody. And we are legitimately really excited, frustrated, thrilled, curious, annoyed, to kind of dive into what's been coming out this week. So hi, let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it. I guess we should start off with the report from the Hollywood Reporter.
The report that broke the internet.
It was the whole headline of Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman 3 not moving forward as DC movies hit turning point and exclusive. So again, now we have all these rumors spiraling out just from that alone. None of them have confirmed. People are saying it was her and Jeff Johns collaborative script. We don't know that. She said she presented a script. Yeah. You want to tell that story? That part?
Yeah. That's one of the things going around that we've heard is that Patty Jenkins presented a script to DC. DC said, "No, we're still going to use you, but do something entirely different." And she kind of said, "Here's the middle finger." Again, how true is that?
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know because again, we haven't heard her statement on this. I know at work today we were all kind of talking about it because it is such a big shakeup for a massive franchise. And they were kind of like, if this is true that she's not going to be doing, or if she's just left altogether, like it's a huge blow to Patty to lose both that Star Wars movie this year and Wonder Woman. Like she'll be able to bounce back, I'm sure of it. That's I don't think that's a problem. But like for both of them to be just kind of like reported as script issues that she was pushing for and they didn't like the script, so she left.
And part of me wonders, because obviously I was not involved with the making of Wonder Woman 84. This is a shock to everyone. Nor am I good friends with Patty Jenkins, despite my close relationship with James Gunn. Patty Jenkins and I are not close. But the feeling that we kind of got around Wonder Woman 84 was that she made a successful Wonder Woman movie, and then DC they marveled it, with Wonder Woman 84. They said, "Hey, Patty Jenkins, you did a good thing. Now do it inside of a box we're going to present to you." So part of me wonders is if that is true, is she now becoming more defensive of her scripts and of her visions because she knows Wonder Woman 84 was a flop, and at the end of the day, it falls on her head, even as she's answering to these studios.
Correct. Absolutely. That's exactly it. Because a lot of things that people don't know what happens behind the scenes working on a movie and what happens in post is how much a movie changes because there's a studio exec that has an idea. And this happens a lot. And it all depends on the movie. It really depends on the franchise. And it also depends on how much money the studio is spending on said movie. So unless they have complete trust, like if it's a Spielberg, or even at this point, I think even like a James Cameron, I think they kind of just get left alone to do their thing. Even though I think
Mhm.
Steven Spielberg does even smaller projects now, I think he just kind of gets left to do what he does. But man, anything else, like if anyone knew how Marvel works, man, there's like so many hands in that bowl, and they're all putting different ingredients in this pie that it's insane. So I can only imagine how much DC is like that, only because they're probably thinking they need to play catch up, and they're they for the longest time, let's face it, ever since even like Batman versus Superman, they've been on kind of the defense of what Marvel's been doing. So it's, to me, this is like, again, it sounds like they trust James Gunn because he's they're just letting him talk, and we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to his tweets. But yeah, I do agree. I think with Wonder Woman 84, I think because she's the face of that, Patty Jenkins is the face
of live action Wonder Woman, of the only live action Wonder Woman on the big screen ever.
Right. So, and of course, that first movie did better than what the studio expected. Because they didn't care about the first movie. They were expecting to lose money.
They just didn't want anyone turn back on them like people did with Black Widow and say, where was Black Widow's origin movie? Where was your female Avengers origin movie? They just didn't want to hear it. So they said, throw Wonder Woman out there, say we did it, and then we can use her for Justice League.
Right. Yeah,
it was
kind of. Yeah. And it turned out to be awesome because she was kind of left to her own device and just kind of like, let's do this. Then, of course, it was a hit. So now the Eye of Sauron, that's what I always call studio execs and producers. The Eye of Sauron then shifted on to Patty Jenkins. And you could definitely, it's hard to watch. Like, let's face it, I only watched 84 once.
Me too.
It was and I felt it was so jarring to watch because the first one was good. And so you're expecting that same level, and you're just kind of like, I'm watching studio notes. That's what it felt like I was watching.
Yeah, so I'm going to address our comments really quick to say hello, but also because there's a comment later down that I really, really want to address, but I feel guilty not addressing all of them first.
Sure. Yeah, let's say hi to the chat. Sorry, we just get excited when we get going.
So excited. Ostradamus Toys, you are early. Oh, well, I can't speak for her, but we're happy you're here no matter how early you arrive. Gotham Stalker, hello, good evening. John Yerkeba, it is actually your comment I'm excited to get to. So hello. Ray Cameron, right? The fact that James Gunn, the real James Gunn TM, reaches out to us the way he does. It's so kind. Stephen Lawrence, thank you. Happy Friday. Getting that fresh start for DC ? I know, cry and rejoice. It's a lot of mixed feelings. Because I think nothing's for sure yet. So the only news, Derpy 501st, that you were disappointed about was the Batman Beyond film, because Warner Brothers wouldn't have a motive for that film anyway. It would have sucked, and you hope with James Gunn's story and vision, mostly story.
Well, I have comments on that as well, and I don't think that story is true, and I will get to that as to why. Because I've heard a lot of things, and I don't think
I'm excited to hear what you've heard. Actually,
okay.
I'm very excited. Ray Cameron, I hope it's kind of true. It's good for sticking to her guns. I really want to believe that for her. I do,
Me too.
In my heart. Hello, Skelevator. Hello, Aiden. Welcome. And now I skipped over this comment because this is what I wanted to address from John, which is weird because this came up when we were talking about Wonder Woman 84 being the movie that had all the different hands in the pot, which is weird because 84 felt like it was even more standalone and disconnected from the other stuff in the DCEU. So you thought that was the result of letting Jenkins do what she wanted. And here is why I think it felt that way, even though it was the one the studio was more involved in. And I'm sure all of you have seen the AI art that is going along right now. Yes. You know that we all know, like, this is not a conspiracy theory, whether it's good, bad, whatever. The fact is it takes from artists. It takes from human artists and mashes them all together and makes a thing that might have 3 hands or 7 fingers, but overall will still, if you squint at it, will look like the thing you wanted for sure. It's when you get into the details that you go, What studios do, I have noticed, because these execs don't always, again, understand the source material. So these execs are almost working like these AI machines where they take these hot button things. They hear Wonder Woman. Oh, so we take Cheetah. Okay. We take gold armor. We take, this guy. And they grab at things that are within this
You're
brain
right.
cloud around Wonder Woman and shove them all into the movie. So it's
Stranger
weird
Things is really popular. Let's put it in the 80s. Whoop. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It becomes weird and disconnected because Patty Jenkins is left with this bowl of things that I guess are Wonder Woman related that all now kind of have to go together. And she's stuck drawing the lines that don't really go together.
Right. Well, even the bringing back of Steve Trevor and how it was done and how disconnected that is. And it felt like someone said it from The Office, like, well, he was in the first one. People will be confused if he doesn't return. So we need to have him back. Right? Yeah. Like, even though Chris Pine is amazing in the first one.
He was such a good Steve Trevor.
Yes, right? He's kind of like a himbo spy a little bit, a little naive, but also like trying to help, but he's also trying to score, Steve Trevor. And
for her.
Yeah. And so to me it felt like he didn't need to be there either. It was in I don't know. That movie, man, 84 is going to like burn me forever, I think. But
I know. No, me too.
Which is why I got excited about
high hopes.
Well, again, too, like that's where number 3 comes in, and you're like, it can go two ways with number 3. It can either like take an even bigger detour and skid into the mud, or it could be a phoenix rising from the ashes. We don't know like what we were going to get. And again, this is where it's going to lead me to the next thing that I think we want to talk about. And we'll get into this with Henry Cavill. We'll get into this with Black Adam 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll get into all of that as well. And I think this all lies in with all of them together. Just because Wonder Woman is canceled doesn't mean we're not getting, like, Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman was canceled. It doesn't mean we're not getting another Gal Gadot movie or appearance somewhere.
Right. Appearance for sure. I do think another Gal Gadot solo Wonder Woman is a little more up in the air, but I think a Gal Gadot appearance is set in stone at this point.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's again, like they were saying, like, oh, Man of Steel 2 is scrapped. Man of Steel 2 might be scrapped, but we might be getting Superman 1. Right?
Which I want.
We all want that.
How I feel about that.
I honestly think, and they're saying like, oh, there's no plans for Black Adam 2. Good. Have him now appear as a villain in Shazam 3, or have him so that he's the villain for Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad 2? Would it be? I don't know.
Who are these people that are saying there's no plans for? And I'm like, is James Gunn in your DMs like he is in ours? I don't think so.
Right.
And is it for sure? So I actually would like to take this moment to pull up James Gunn's tweet that he sent out
absolutely
when all of this kind of went down, because it literally, to me, just laughs at all of the people who are saying there's no plans for. Did you know? Can you believe? If your tweet starts with that, I'm not reading the rest of it. He says, so as far as the story yesterday in the Hollywood Reporter, some of it is true, some of it is half true, some of it is not true, and some of it we haven't decided yet whether it's true or not. And he goes on to talk, but that last part that we haven't decided yet is, I think, the most important part of that. And sometimes I think for people who have never worked in the entertainment industry, there's a disconnect to just how human this machine is. Because at the end of the day, it's an art. It's all human hands, human thoughts, human opinions. It is an art. It's a very mass-produced art. It's a very, art that's being put through the machine. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, there's almost nothing that is more inherently just human than these movies and these arts that are coming out. And that means that things can change at any minute from anywhere down the pipeline. And I really think people think that there is like this machine who has this plan set in stone and the humans are just kind of working within it. and the machine itself is still just other dumber humans. Like, it's all humans. The machine is a bunch of humans in suits with horrible opinions. It's not an actual machine.
It's yet you're actually spot on. Like, there's still a lot of like heart and passion that goes into these projects, even when you've got like I'll tell, like, straight up, like when I worked on Batman versus Superman, we kind of knew going in this was going to be divisive. This was going to not be everyone's cup of tea. It wasn't even the people's working on it cup of tea. But you know what? We were going to do whatever we could on our end to have fun working on it. And we wanted it to be as good as we can make it on our end. Because, you know, like these movies take up a lot of our life when we're working on them. And we do want, like, even if we know we're working on a bad movie, we want to do whatever we can on our end so that whatever we worked on, that's not what people complain about. So even if we're not involved necessarily in the story, we are involved in the making of that story exist. So, you know, everyone really pulls together and put, like, you know, they do their best to try to put their heart into it. Because once you lose your heart into, like, once you lose that, that's when you're pretty much looking for a new job in a new industry at that point. I think that goes for pretty much anything that people do.
Yeah.
Right. So we got to remember that too. So before everyone goes attacking James Gunn, and even before people go attacking Zack Snyder, just remember, at the end of the day, these are both still human beings.
Can we talk about the amount of Restore the Snyderverse tweet responses there are to this?
And here's the funny thing about Restore the Snyderverse as well. They're a very I don't want to like insult anybody, but it's just going to be like they're a different batch of folks. That's it. They're very passionate. They're very I don't know. I don't know if they've ever seen anything else involving Superman in their life. But whatever it is, they've connected to it and they've decided to latch onto that as their own. Because I don't see people doing this for Patty Jenkins to get their Wonder Woman 3.
No.
Like they're doing for.
There's definitely like a layer of misogyny in there too.
100%
was a different level of bomb.
Right. And so what's, you know, that's the thing with the Batman Beyond movie. That was the Batman Beyond movie was never confirmed. It was never talked about. The closest thing to a Batman Beyond movie was supposed to be the Batgirl movie. That got scrapped. Somehow people got in their head that Keaton was going to be playing Batman in a Batman Beyond movie, which were scrapped. Now, as we are finding out, as we're tracing back all of this news of this, it's coming from, guess who? The Snyder fans. So now they're starting to do is make up these like weird ass rumors of, hey, James Gunn's ruining it for everybody, not just us. Get mad at him, go after him. And of course, what happens with speculation with news sources that don't have a reputation? That speculation becomes news, and people follow it, and people make YouTube videos about it. Here we are, right? But it's like some of them are making, like, I think it was Screen Crush straight up was like, oh, looks like they canceled the Batman Beyond movie starring Michael Keaton, the movie we all wanted. That was never in the works, folks.
Well, I think the problem is, like, with Twitter, these things move so quickly that I feel like a lot of these sources feel so pressured to be on top of the news that they want to get it out before they've validated it. Because you could literally be anyone. Like I was telling you before this stream started, one of the tweets that really like blew this whole thing up was a tweet from a rando that just said, I can't believe that in the past week they announced Henry Cavill's Superman, pulled him from The Witcher, and then DC dropped him already as Superman, and now he has nothing. And this with just confidence was, I can't believe that they did this to Henry Cavill. Yes. And I think that was one of the things that really snowballed everything else. And they just assumed that Wonder Woman, and it was this, you can tell the jump of logic was Wonder Woman 2 is canceled. They're not using Gal Gadot Wonder Woman anymore, which means they can't use Henry Cavill's Superman anymore. But that snowball of logic, like, you can make those guesses, but none of those are facts. None of
Right.
them, not a single one.
Like even Gal Gadot's tweet of her thanking the fans and can't wait for the next chapter for the character.
Yes. With
Even
the
that's vague enough too.
emoji.
Right. Where people, like, for me, I automatically thought she was just getting ready for the next movie. Other people said
Yeah.
that's her goodbye and she's waiting to see who's going to play her in the next chapter. Nobody knows.
I feel like if it was a goodbye, it would have been more clear. To me, when performers or actors or any of the Hollywood, when they're vague, usually they're vague because they're excited about something upcoming. Goodbyes are final. You know, goodbyes are, and I'm done and I'm depressed.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
This sucks. You know, vague is, oh, the next chapter. You know,
Yeah.
it's we call it hashtag vague booking sometimes in the industry.
Correct.
You know, you go on Facebook and you make a vague book to get everyone excited about what you might be doing next.
Yeah. In the hospital.
Yeah.
You're not telling anyone
exactly.
why, right? Hey, look at me. But you're right. Like it's I think that's the only thing that's going to be like crazy for the next few. Well, I guess until the first movie gets announced or the first bit of casting or whatever it is that gets announced, we're going to have to put up with a lot of these like speculative rumors from all sorts of people, whether they're James Gunn fans, Snyder fans. We're going to have to really be kind of diligent as us as fans to know when something is not real. And unfortunately, like even Hollywood Reporter got half their facts straight. And that's going to happen with, you know, Hollywood Reporter and Variety as well, because whether it's a slow news day or they have heard from some legitimate sources half of this, and they're just kind of piecing stuff together to make an article, you know, like as James, and we'll get to James Gunn's tweet, folks, don't worry. Like, you know, and it's, you know, there's, you know, like I said, there's like a lot of vague stuff. And like I said, I've worked on movies where I've been like right in the thick of things. And then I've seen, and I'll tell you this, I'm working on still movies now where I'm seeing like people announce things like they're facts. And I'm just like, oh, you guys are so far off the course. Like people don't know. And people report all this stuff constantly.
Like the fact that I could sit here and literally be like, did you know Into the Spider-Verse, the new movie, is going to have Miles becoming the new Venom? Fun fact. It's a thing. It's real.
It's a thing now.
Take it. Tweet it. Do what you will with it. Tell Green Rant.
If work is watching this is her talking. I got nothing to do with it.
All me. They're all Venom. Every one of them. And Carnage.
And Carnage. Definitely Carnage.
Carnage Gwen Stacy.
That's right. Guarnage.
That's what everyone actually wants.
That's what her name would be, right? Guarnage. It's Gwenum and Guarnage.
Guarnage, exactly. Or Ghost Spider. I guess that's still Gornage. So much better. Wow. I love that.
Right.
So real quick side note, blowing my mind, because now I'm watching, you know, superhero stuff for toddlers because I have one of those banging on my door as we speak. So I'm sorry if you can hear that. Again, his father's out there with him. He's not just alone in the hallway banging on the door. To clarify. I feel like I'd make that clear now. But we've been watching the tiny little Spidey and Friends. And Miles being called Spin or Spins in that Spins is was definitely for me like a little bit jarring at first. But hey,
I didn't know they called him Spins.
Yeah, because Peter Parker is Spidey, so they can't call Miles Spidey, so he needs a different nickname. And he has like a spin attack he does. They call him Spins. And that's what kids know Miles as now. Like when they talk about it's Spidey, it's Ghost Spider, and it Spins for Miles Morales. So
weird.
I know. And then I talked to a child that can talk, so mine can't talk. And they had like, you know, all the Spider-Man stickers on their little water bottle. And they were like showing it to me, and they were like, oh yeah, it's Ghost Spider and it's Spidey and it Spins. And I'm like, wow, so this really caught on with your generation. Okay.
Okay.
Total side rant.
Right.
But so sorry, while we're talking about movies, I do have some structure I want to touch on. There's one more big movie thing that I want to address, and you're gonna hate me for this, Ryan, and it's okay. But after that, I do want to get back to the comments. So we had some cool stuff about, you know, some other things, video games and other conversations going on that I do want to address things outside of the movies too. But I mean, it's been a big week for the movies. So it's our favorite movie, Ryan, The Flash, the movie.
Now what?
So we have a release date that was moved up. So now we're looking at June of 2023.
All right.
And to me, that says that they just went, we just got to commit. They said, we just got to commit. What's the fastest we can get this thing out with what we've got? And the answer was June 2023.
Oh man, that's I got this weird gut feeling that like the Keaton stuff is going to be 10 minutes long. It's not going to be very much of it. And I'm probably just going to end up watching it on YouTube. Someone's
just the little Keaton part.
Just the little Keaton part. It's that movie for me now is like so tainted.
I know.
I just don't think I can get into it. And yeah, I'm going to buy all the toys when they come out for sure.
All of them?
Well, all the Batman.
There you go. Well, and I think it's so hard too, because in the back of my mind, and I know I shouldn't compare, I know that I should be able to do some separation, but in the back of my mind, I know I'm going to be saying, we got this instead of Batgirl. You know?
Right. Yeah.
I am. It's going to be like, oh, so you gave us this, but you couldn't give us Batgirl. And because it was really these two movies that I felt like were kind of, being developed and filmed, like talked about kind of at the same time. So it really feels like they said, have the Flash instead of Batgirl, even if that maybe wasn't the case. I'm emotionally in that place with this film, and I hate it because I wanted Batgirl.
Yeah, me too. And I wanted Brendan Fraser as Firefly.
My gosh, so badly.
Right?
And the representation of a Barbara Gordon of color.
Yes.
It's fine.
Right?
We're doing great.
Make the Lego movie live action. That's what we're getting so close. We're getting so close. Or even the Harley Quinn show with Black Selena Kyle. Correct.
Like, I mean, we did actually have in the Batman,
And in Batman 66.
Yes.
Right? Like back
so it's
in
like it's basically canon.
It is. Point. I think so. To me it is.
Keep shoving it in there. So just wanted to touch on that. There was apparently a source that said that the Flash, again, a source, the Flash is basically the multiverse of madness of DC. And we can all have different opinions on multiverse of madness, but I'm going to say for me, that's not a good thing, but probably accurate in how I feel about both films.
Right. And again, too, like that's such an easy low-hanging fruit thing to call because the movie's called Flashpoint and we know he's going to the
It's a multiverse. Yeah.
So like to be like all proud and be like, it's going to be the equivalent to that. Well, yeah, of course it is. It's called Flashpoint.
It's me. I'm the source.
Oh, you're the source? Okay, that's so funny.
But yeah, so unless you have something else you want to touch on movie stuff right now, I'm going to hop back into the comments real quick.
One quick thing before we do that. I do want to point out that when the Flash comes out, when is Aquaman 2 supposed to come out? Before that? No idea. Anyways, either way, that's probably the last time we're going to see Mamoa as Aquaman.
I know,
but that's okay because it's okay. I think it's okay because then we get him as Lobo. And to me, this is like way cooler and way more Mamoa.
It's going to be pretty cool.
Right? Come on.
We're looking at Christmas Day of 2023 currently. I guess.
So in 2 weeks. Okay.
No, 2023.
So
not 1 year and 2 weeks.
Jeez Louise. Okay. Why even they should scrap that movie too. That movie's just as tainted.
Well, it's because they had to recast Amber Heard. It probably set them back.
Did they really reshoot all of that with her?
If they recast her, I imagine they must have.
Oh, I don't know what's going on.
Unless it's going to be half of the movie is Amber Heard and then like partway through it just switches.
Yeah, Amber Heard died on the way back to her home planet. They're like, Poochie. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, so that's a thing.
That's a thing. Okay.
That's a thing.
So with that said, let's go see how the chat's doing.
The chat has been blowing up. So I'm going to go through. I was a streamer for quite some time before we started this show, y'all. So I tend to go through chat a little bit faster than Ryan does. So bear with me. Don't hate me. We have a lot to get through.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'll be the bad guy. I'm mean streamer. It's fine.
The mean streamer, is that your supervillain name?
The mean streamer. She skipped over my comment during the stream. Did you know that? She mispronounced my username.
Oh, that's me. I do that.
That is you. I'm so sorry. That is you now.
I'm the mispronouncer.
The mispronounce. Okay, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. How do we feel about the new Suicide Squad video game and Kevin Conroy's is the last of his voice? I mean, I'm emotional about anything Kevin Conroy. I think I'm gonna be very biased towards the video game because Suicide Squad is just fun.
Right.
I love that the video games have been doing different things, like Gotham Knights not being about Batman was actually, I think, was cool and a good idea. I think, the next one being the Suicide Squad game, I think that they're realizing that the most interesting thing about Batman is everyone around him. Sorry, unpopular opinion. Right. But I stand by it.
Also, I do find it kind of cool that it's like, because this is a brainwashed something Justice League, which is fine.
Mhm.
And and just to kind of see, now we get to hear Kevin Conroy with the Justice League again, because I'm sure we're going to have flashback cutscenes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, I did want to talk about that trailer a little bit too, because when it came up, I actually didn't think Kevin Conroy was going to be doing the voice of Batman for that. So
really?
when he did his line, I just was like, "Oh God, I am not ready for this." And then the thank you Kevin Conroy at the end coming up was just like, "Oh God, why are you doing this?"
It got me. I'm not gonna lie, it got me.
And I'm just like, well, I still can't find a PlayStation 5 to play these goddamn games, but damn. I need
PC gaming.
I need this
just
game.
Saying.
Oh, I might have to. It might be easier to just buy a PC game at this point.
I mean, I'm committed to PC gaming, so we could play together, I think, probably. Some of these games, not all of them.
Something, right?
Something. We'll figure it out. But yeah, Flash 739 kind of looping back. Cheetah deserved her own movie. She deserves to be she's her Joker. She's her Lex Luthor. Like, It does hurt that she was just kind of like a side character in her sequel. Like, that hurts my heart.
Yeah. And they rushed it too. Like with their little fight and everything, and her transforming completely. It all felt very like, oh, we got to quickly do this. Have you guys seen the movie Cats? Just do that.
Okay, first of all, listen. I love Cats the musical. I love Cats the musical, the movie, the original one from the stage recording, and I love Cats the musical, the movie, the CGI. And I die on that hill.
Okay, I'm not gonna yuck your yum.
And
you go for it.
Somehow, my husband still had a child with me. That was before. He knew that before agreeing to make a child with me, and he still did.
Wow.
So,
trust me, we'll let a lot, but dudes will let a lot slide. Trust me, it's okay.
So, Cats the musical, the movie. You did great.
I'll remember that. Yep.
Release the butthole version. Anyway. Disappointment with how Chris Pine was wasted as Steve Trevor. How cool it would have been for the Jenkins trilogy to end with a Wonder Woman Dead Earth, and Jenkins to be able to do a full trilogy. I just don't know, because after 84, I want to agree with you, but after 84, I can't be like, yes, because it just sucked. I want a Superman film based on the tone of the 40s cartoon with the storyboards of the 90s cartoon, and honestly do that and end it like the 70s film. Whew, that is, speaking of AI mixtures, now there's a lot of good intentions in there. That is a lot of fun.
Here's where I think
Ryan has big feelings about old Superman cartoons.
Absolutely, I do. The Max Fleischer cartoons are my jam. And it needs that charm of the old 40s cartoon. Which did translate to the 90s cartoon, because it just felt like a modern version of that. So I'm with you on that. To me, those blend nicely together as two different eras, but we're like, this is the same Superman. And that 70s Christopher Reeve Superman, of course, like, so good. It's still, to me, it still holds up. Yes. Right. So, and to me, I still think all those Lois Lanes as well, because of course I'm going to talk about Lois Lane. All of them are great as well. So I think what it comes down to each one of these generations that you just mentioned here, Derpy, that is someone's grandfather's Superman. And at the end of the day, that's all we want is our grandfather's Superman. We want that feeling of hope and inspiration. And I know the word hope is overdone with that man now.
But he deserves it.
But that's what we want. We want that feeling of inspiration, of wanting to be better, and to know that there's good heroes out there. That's what we want. And I think that all three of those that you mentioned accumulate all of that. So
yeah, I think that's really cool. Jeremy Kulo, hello, welcome to the chat. Thank you both for being so media literate. You were screaming at Twitter yesterday from all the bad absolutist takes based on nothing but rumor and guesswork. Yes. I don't know if it's just because Ryan and I are elderly, but it makes us crazy too. I cannot stand it. And yes, a full reboot with current the newness is exciting because let's face it, there were good and bad things in what DC tried to do within the Snyderverse era. Not even just Snyder's movies, specifically, like that whole era. But it wasn't perfect. It wasn't great consistently. So whatever they're doing, I'm excited for them to pick and choose what worked. And because you don't have to do even a full reboot. I don't care if they pick and choose their favorite actors and then recast others and keep some canon and throw out the rest. Whatever. That's what the comics do all the time.
All the time.
Constantly.
Yep.
Let's bring back Linda Carter from Ray Cameron. And something you're sad about, never getting Gal and Linda team up in a movie. Hey, who knows? Like we said, I don't think Gal is done. I don't think she is.
Yep. I don't think she is either.
I want to see Linda Carter everywhere she wants to be ever. So.
And I want Wednesday Addams to play Donna Troy. That's what I want now.
Oh, Jenna Ortega?
Yeah. Are we?
That would be fun.
We're all in love with her. So, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Make her
an
Amazon.
For her. Sorry, now I'm just making sure that I hit most of our big points in the comments. Again, sorry, guys. I tend to skip over if it's something that we've already seen or if you're just chatting with each other.
Yeah.
You had a feeling with Flash. The way Gunn's plan is leaning helped them finally decide the final edit of the film that helped lock the release date. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It does. Gotham Stalker, you don't know much about the Batgirl movie. Do we think it would have been an actual good movie? I mean, this is DC. And okay, I will stand by this. I think it would have had some of the same energy as the original Wonder Woman movie, where DC didn't put enough stock in it to come in and mess with it. I don't think it was going to be a cultural reset like the Batman. I think it would have been fun, though. I think it would have been a movie that I would have enjoyed sitting and watching.
Yeah, I got nothing to add to that because I agree. Yeah, I agree. I'm the curiosity like that. And my niece is a huge Batgirl fan. Like, so when the news got to her that movie got scrapped, it was me getting the text like I had something to do with it and that I could change it, right? Like, so in some cases, not everything is meant for me or even Lexi's demographic or who, like, you know what I mean? Like, some of the stuff is just aimed for teenagers. And I think I'm curious. My opinion on whether it's going to be good or not at this point, I feel doesn't matter. I want to know what my niece thinks of Batgirl.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's the bottom line for this. She's my measuring stick. If she says it's good and she liked it, then they did their job. Doesn't matter if us old white men like this movie or not. As I honestly don't think we are the target audience at all.
Yeah. I think they were going to embrace the fun of it. And it makes me sad that we're not getting that in the Batman universe on screen. Because there is a lot of fun to be had, especially with his sidekicks. So, mean streamer now asked Jay from Geek Dad Life to make me an intro. Oh no, is this my name now? I've ruined myself. Predicting all of this from Metron's Mobius chair, probably. Shh, don't tell them. They'll take the chair back.
Also, going back to your name, you saw She-Hulk. We never get to choose our own superhero names.
So you're right. You are unfortunately correct. Stanley's Toy Channel is wondering if they can change the Flash actor during Flashpoint. It start and with a different Flash like CW Flash. I feel like bothering to do that to explain a recasting as opposed to just recasting would actually be more complicated than just recasting.
Marvel's done recasting and they didn't explain it all.
And I don't think we're going to see CW. I think that, well, again, but James Gunn can do whatever he wants. But we haven't seen, that crossover between TV and film. They've worked really hard to kind of actually very deliberately keep that one line of separation. And I do think they are going, if I had to guess, I would guess that they're going to continue doing that just because CW has a very specific audience. Those shows do. And they're doing their own thing and they're including a lot. And if they start overlapping with the films, it's going to really limit what they can do on TV. And they've got a lot of TV going between Titans, between, Flash and Supergirl and all these things. They've done Doom Patrol. I just really think that they're going to end up limiting themselves if they try and make those two mesh.
Right. I agree.
Because otherwise we'll never get our tiny on-screen Robin.
Yeah, we're always going to be stuck with adult Robins.
That are killing people and being written
dropping
up.
F-bombs and saying, fuck that man.
And there was Pregnant Khan in the latest episode. Pregnant Superboy. Right. That was a shock to see.
Yeah, right.
But you're going to say fan fiction writers do weird stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
The moment they said, hey, Lex Luthor went out of his way to made a love child between himself and Superman, and it's their joint son, I was like, no one can make fun of a fan for anything ever again.
Correct.
Never. Not after that.
Nope.
Y'all need to say this to yourselves out loud outside of canon and just realize what's going on here.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
Just saying. The Batgirl movie gave you big Batgirl year one comic vibes. Yes, it was that outfit, the purple leather jacket. It was fun. It was really, really fun. But look at what they did with the Steel movie. John Henry becoming Steel without a Superman was dumb. Would Batgirl have been in the same boat? A Batgirl without a Batman part of her origin? Or would Affleck or Pattinson been the Batman she based off of? I'll let you answer that, Ryan, but I'm just going to say real quick, my guess would have been they would have just vaguely addressed Batman without committing, but saying he exists, but leaving it open.
I would go as far as I think I'm with you on that. I think we'd see probably a heavier lean on Commissioner Gordon. I think we would watch her dad interact with Batman on a roof at some point. So I think all of that, it would legit be. We all saw the Batman animated series episodes of Batgirl, correct? That I'm gonna just assume I'm talking widespread, not just to Lexi, but to the chat as well. I'm just gonna assume everybody has seen those episodes with Batgirl, because if we're doing, let's say we did even that story from her point of view, there's not a lot of Batman. So I think what would end up happening is that, we would see we'd see Batman interact with Commissioner Gordon, because legit, she's more into being Batgirl to help her dad and not really there to impress Batman. However, it just happens to turn out that way. And in fact, Batman doesn't really invite her into the family until way later, because he's all like, nope, don't go near that. And Robin's all like simping already, right? Like he's already
absolutely
that
and
dude at the tree.
I think a lot of people forget that unlike his little flock of Robins, he didn't really train Babs. She depending on how she's written, but a lot of times like Harley, she just has this gymnast background to explain her amazing skills, or whatever it may be, and she was trained by her dad, who's a detective, who's a cop. And so eventually obviously she learns from Batman in other ways, once, like we said, he eventually takes her into the fold, but it's not like the other Robins where he took them in and trained them from the ground up. Even like Damian, had his background, but for his vigilante life from the moment was under, either his dad or Dick Grayson. Babs was doing her own thing as a vigilante actively well before Bruce got involved. So I still think it's very easy to have a Batgirl origin movie where Batman still has to exist, but you don't need him to be an active, participant in it.
Correct. And got the bots in tonight. Oh, we did good.
Oh yeah,
The
got him.
That
That means
the
we're
other
doing
thing,
well.
yeah, that means we're doing. The other thing with Batgirl as well, like whether I would want it to be Affleck or Pattinson, I would want it to be Pattinson only because we know that Commissioner Gordon so well from one movie where gosh, what is his name? J. Jonah Jameson. That's
Simmons.
Simmons. Yes, thank you. He's the Commissioner Gordon for Affleck, but we haven't seen him a lot. And so I would rather go with the Commissioner Gordon that I know that we understand that relationship between him and Bruce. And even if we do get a young kid Robin, I mean, that Robin's got to grow a little older before we can start bringing in Batgirl, well, at least in my own head canon and in my canon that I believe she is older than Dick.
Yes, she was supposed to be. It's fine. I'm fine.
Right. So it's just, so I just want to make sure that, like, if we bring in a 12-year-old Robin, she's got to be at least.
Oh no, I think we've got some freezing there. But yeah, no, I've always felt that, even in instances where they are dating or anything, even if it's just 2-3 years, because I think one of the cute things, y'all know how I feel about them being an endgame couple, but I do think they're cute when they're younger. Especially in like the idea that she comes in and she is this independent, badass vigilante, and she's a little bit older than him. And it's almost like the, having your crush on your tutor, in school. So yeah, no, I want to let them commit to Batgirl being older, even if it's just that, little bit.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, you nailed it. Even with me freezing on my end. Yeah, you totally.
I got you, man.
you got me. You had me. So it was like, and I agree. And I think like them having like being like, again too, I'm a very firm believer of like Batgirl and Barbara not giving Dick really she's not being Batman or she's not being Batgirl to impress Robin.
To impress anyone, really, but her dad.
Well, exactly. Except for her father. But I mean,
yeah.
But that's what I mean, right? Like, it's let Robin have the crush, let something happen, naturally, and don't rush it and don't push it. Like that's
and
just.
And you start with young Robin, you have that time.
You do have that time. You get time with both of them, and don't forget too when Batgirl first appeared as well, people thought she was Batman because she hid her hair. And it wasn't until the cowl ripped and her hair came out that people were like, "Oh, it's a girl!"
Well, and then a lot of her early iterations, she was actually written to be a love interest for Bruce. She was supposed to be older and was supposed to be a love interest for Batman, not for Dick. And, along the way, everything... because they realized that Batman had everyone else. So who are we going to give to Dick? Are we going to write a new cool original character his age? No, we're going to take a canon character and we're going to age her down, because that's what they do in comics when they need a love interest for a younger character.
Correct.
Look at Damian Wayne and Raven.
I was waiting for it.
That shouldn't be a thing. I know. I'm still
I was
angry.
like, and in 3, 2, Damian Raven.
It's fine. But also Babs and Jason Todd, Babs and Tim Drake. The day they Babs Damian Wayne is the day I quit DC. Yeah. I swear, that's when I give up. That's when we change our logo. That's when we are anything but Gotham City tonight.
Okay.
I'm putting it now. That's the day I'm done. That
Welcome to Titan's Tower tonight.
Still too close.
Yeah. I get it. We're live from Bloodhaven. Don't worry about us.
She cannot have gone everywhere from Bruce all the way down to Damian. It has to stop somewhere.
It's still gross. In 3 Jokers, when that was Jeff Johns, right? And he's just like, Jeff Johns. It's crazy how problematic that man's become too. And he writes this thing. And it's like, it starts off kind of cool, and I was like, oh, I'm intrigued. And then he writes it so Jason and Babs start making out. And I'm like, no.
You're like, pull it back.
No, like it's one of those things where it's like, I just don't have her. Like, the thing grosses me out more when they take characters and just pass them around the family. Like, The only
like
way that
Starfire
works now, and it's all Dick's girlfriends too. And
Oh yeah.
And the only way that works when you're like dating within the family, so to speak, the only way it works is X-Men. That's it.
Yeah.
Because it's a school, technically.
Yeah, they have much less of an actual familial dynamic.
Correct. Yes, exactly.
And because they're all like I said, like they're all like the similar ages too. Yeah,
like I said, it's more of a high school thing. It's more of a school thing than a family thing. Correct.
So those
right?
That is what it is. Oh, Batgirl. She just deserves justice.
It's true. Justice for Bab.
Yeah, bring back that movie. But so I think that movie would have done a lot of great things. I think she wouldn't have had a love interest, which would have been just fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
I think we would have seen, implied Batman. I know some of the comments was saying implied Keaton Batman, possibly even to tie in with Flashpoint. Sure, that's fine with me. But I think it would have been fun. And I'm sad we don't have it, and I miss it.
Oh, John Yerkaba sent me some photos. Let's see if I can access them here. I feel like old Jeremy man on the iPad.
Yeah, Pattinson, Gadot, and Cavill are all in their late 30s, which is a solid trinity because Affleck is much older than them. And I do like I do love a trinity that are all kind of close in age to each other. Because I mean, I just have a lot of feelings about the Trinity in general. I love them. I love their role in DC. I love their role in each other's lives.
Right.
I just want a solid Trinity.
Let's see if I can. Right. It's Batgirl, some Batman.
Yeah, is that Keaton?
That's Keaton.
There we go.
Right? So I'm all for it, right? The J.K. Simmons there. I forgot that J.K. Simmons was also the Commissioner Gordon for this as well.
Yeah. There was a lot of... There's a lot happening.
There's a lot of there's a lot of what's going on here. So
I wonder if they were going to try and say that Batman was from like an alternate universe and inspired her to like be the Batman for her universe or something. Instead of actually having a Batman in her universe. Too. Yes. Really excited. It's kind of circling back to comics now. Everything that's happening there with Superman and his line. We haven't seen a lot of new stuff coming out about that as far as I can tell. But in the comics right now, I think, because we kind of talked last time I was here about the Tim Drake solo run and how it seemed kind of disconnected from the main canon. Because in main canon, you had a Tim Drake who was so desperate to be back in the spot of Robin and wanted to be there. And then in his solo run, suddenly he's living in a boathouse and not talking to Bruce. It seems... there were other feelings about that issue as well. Yeah. We don't need to dive into those this moment in time.
Correct.
So now it seems like in our current canon Batman run, it looks like we might be getting a missing Bruce again. And we might be getting Tim Drake stepping in as Batman, possibly a Tim Drake, Jonathan Kent team up. Now that John Kent doesn't have his solo run anymore.
Let's do it. Sure. Why not? Why not? Even though that also, again, too, things get rebooted and changed in time. And I remember, like, when someone is your favorite character, you remember every little thing about it when they were, like, the biggest thing in your life. Yeah. So I will always remember, like, when Tim Drake was like, I will never be Batman. I will always be Robin. I have no inspiration to be Batman. And then, of course, Batman left and they had the battle for the cowl. This was before Dick Grayson had it. Mm-hmm. And everybody was Batman there for a little bit. Even like
everyone who hated Batman suddenly wanted to be Batman.
Yeah, everyone wanted to be Batman. But of course, Dick got the cowl, which led to some of the best Batman stories we've ever had. But again, too, like I remember seeing that and being like, shouldn't he just still be Robin? And then, of course, it's like, because you know how we are when we love a character, we just have a little trouble adjusting and letting go sometimes. And
yes,
yeah, I was still at that point.
Do I still do that with Starfire all the time? I can confess. I can sure admit that I have big feelings about Starfire's changes over the years.
Oh gosh, me too. I am with you on that because
yeah, but a lot of those are also rooted in a lot of misogyny and racism. Shockingly, I mean not shockingly. I don't know why I said that. Was not. But yeah, I do. I mean, and it's possible that Tim won't be Batman. It's possible there will be no Batman. It's possible someone else will. I mean, who knows?
Who knows?
But I mean, how do we really feel about a Tim Drake, Jonathan Kent team up?
Oh, I mean, I'm always kind of all for just team ups you don't expect.
Yeah.
Like I'm always a little open to the idea because again, it's like, what happens if you team up Gambit with Spider-Man? I don't know. Let's do it. Seems like an odd mashup. Why not? And this kind of falls along that line for me as well, where it's just like, okay, we don't see these characters together at all.
Yeah.
So let's see what their relationship is like.
Well, and I have so many other follow-up questions too that there may be answers floating around for this. So as usual, chat, if you know the answer, feel free to tell me I'm dumb. But we still have Batman versus Robin ongoing, which is still supposed to be at least canon parallel. So if Bruce is gone, is that storyline wrapping up? Or are they just meh-ing about it? We just saw a really cool cover with Batman wearing the Dr. Fate helmet to fight Damian.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? Very interested in that. So
Todd McFarlane's gonna make a toy of that so quick.
I hope so. Well, but I mean, so now you've got Bruce, a little bit busy, and maybe he's not, or maybe that explains why he goes away. Like I said, I'm a little behind, and then there's also the question of, if John's best friend is currently possessed by a demon and trying to murder his entire family. He's gonna hop in to like help Tim with other stuff, but not hop in to help with that.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. And what's Connor doing? Where's he at? How's he?
Well, I guess we'll find out. Oh, speaking of that family, I think there was a little bit of news we didn't really get to touch upon. Lee Williams, who is the current writer of Extremists for Marvel, like one of the X-Men titles, who's been killing it. She is going to be writing Power Girl.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
So for everyone who's been wondering where Power Girl's been, it's going to be Lee Williams taking over. I can only imagine like Lee's sense of humor getting thrown into this book. So I am very, very excited. Having met Lee Williams in person, I am very, very excited. And she's like one of the nicest people I've ever met. So I will always full on and support Lee Williams.
Awesome. That is fantastic. No, that's very, very exciting.
I'm going to message her.
I mean, the Secret family just deserves all the best writers. It's fine.
I agree. I honestly do agree with that. Right? Like, it's just, to me, it's like it's like when Marvel puts all their top talent on like X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And of course now like characters like Iron Man and Captain America, as they should. And I feel like the Trinity should always be getting that same level. And I find that like Wonder Woman and Superman, not so much Batman. I think Batman's always gotten the top tier talent from the 40s on. He's never skipped a beat. However, Wonder Woman and Superman, they always kind of have these fluctuations. And I always feel like that ain't right.
Yeah. I just feel like dark is easier to write in some ways. Like, it's easy to be dark and angsty and gritty and emotional and then have your flashes of hope in there. It's harder to write something that needs to be consistently hopeful with its flashes of darkness. I think that's just a harder energy to nail.
You're probably very right. Because we all have bad days.
Yep. And that's just kind of the nature of it, I think. And that's been the same thing for the movies. It's easier to shock a bunch of people with your dark, gritty film than to make a bunch of people really believe in camp.
Or just believe.
Yeah. Which is why I'll always go back and say, like, that first generation of Marvel, that's where they nailed it. They really did. my personal, not because it is the best objective film, because it is my personal favorite. My personal favorite Marvel film was Captain America, the First Avenger. And I think it just nailed that hopeful camp in such a beautiful way. And I will just always love it for that.
Yeah. Yep. Me too.
Because that's what I love about superheroes. I do.
The Captain America movies, to me, are the best ones. Those ones in Guardians of the Galaxy. I know you have your. I get why. So trust me, I'm not gonna. But if I don't,
I still enjoy the movies. They're still fun. Mantis is just a terrible character.
Right. So it's So it's like, but Captain America to me has always been like, just so consistently written. That it was just like, and he does like, and you see him evolve. He goes from milk and cookies to, telling people not to swear, to swearing, to commenting on his own ass. You know what I mean? Like, we see that character growth. We see him modernize. He's not an old, like he says, I'm not an old fogey, right? Like, that kind of thing. Like, and they've always, I don't know, to me, Captain America always felt the most honest. And I know we're now talking about Marvel, but I'm just saying, if they can do it for Captain America, who is, again, a very, very similar character to Superman in a lot of ways.
Yes.
I believe if they can do it for Cap, they can do it for Soups. And and like James Gunn said too, he's not going to direct any characters he doesn't feel he's best suited for. He has said off and on, like he has said over and over, more or less, that he's not the guy for Superman.
And I respect that a lot. I really do.
Right. And because he understands that he's not the right person, I do have a very strong feeling he's going to find us the right one.
Yeah, I think so. Because when you know what not to do, that is actually shockingly helpful for what you should do. I think he is. But yeah, are we at final thoughts, Ryan? I feel like we're at final thoughts.
My final thoughts is, consider the source you read before you share the news. God.
Yes, sorry.
Right? Consider if it's not coming from the official voice of the person in charge, even if that person in charge is spinning a ball of yarn of sweet, juicy lies, right? Go with the source before you go with some dude named Botman153. All right? So just consider that before, spreading the news or getting mad at people for canceling films that may not have been canceled. And like I said, just sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. We've got a long way to go. He said he's planning 10 years of movies. So just take a deep breath, have some hot chocolate, enjoy the snowfall. That's my final thought.
I think mine is, it's really going to be coming through with this new era of live action DC, big screen. Like Ryan said, be along for the ride. We don't know what they're going to do. If we rile ourselves up, we're all going to be wrong about something. And I would hate to see true fans who've waited so many years for this era to miss out on enjoying it because they got their head wrapped around the details. I really would hate that for you as fans. So let's see what happens. Let's complain once it's there to complain about. Before that, let's let it happen.
Let's complain about the comics for a while. Let's do
that. I've got plenty of complaints about those.
And I still want to try and do a watch along before Christmas of Christmas with the Joker. So we got to, I know it's hard for us to find time because we're both so busy, but it's just like, but we will find time, darn it. Even if that's next week's episode, that's what we'll do. So just a heads up. But
thank you all so much. You have a wonderful night out there in Gotham. All of our friends and viewers and wonderful human beings. We love having you here. We love seeing ya. And we'll catch you next week.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you.